Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been off for a few weeks. Took some vacation time with my family through the holidays and welcomed my new son into the world, Porter Keith Brock. So kind of took a little time off, but got a little bit of footage here of installing a triple gauge kit, pillar gauges. Goes on the pillar to the left of your steering wheel. Uh, I chose to go with a boost gauge, fuel pressure, and a pyrometer or exhaust temperature, however you want to say it. But this is the first step is drilling and tapping to the 1/8 inch pipe threads, NPT or whatever they call them. It's come with very good instructions. So if anybody wants to order one of these kits, they are Glowshift, and I got it off of Amazon. If you go to Glowshift's website, seemed like you had to click and like add this and add that and add this. Whereas if you go to Amazon, they had a kit for my 97, and I think it changes. The 12 valve kit changes when you go to a 24 valve. I'm not sure, but right here, I was drilling and tapping, and it says to vacuum any shavings, metal shavings. Then put a little grease on your drill bit. Try to catch some of them. Put a little grease on the tap when you're tapping it, and this it seems like it might be difficult, but that whatever that manifold's made out of, cast or whatever, it drills pretty good. It's kind of softer, so everything's pretty simple, straightforward. Just went ahead and tapped it, and the reason I got this kit was while running these trucks, there's common things that goes on with them. Fuel pressure issues. This is a P pump on this one, mild manual motor. When I bought this, someone had adjusted, ground the fuel plate off, and different things, and it was smoking just horribly. Just a lot of smoke. So, I don't care for it to roll a little smoke or roll coal, whatever you want to call it, when you shift gears, but like just to put down on the throttle a little, it would just smother the engine plumb out. The oil was getting real sooty. So I decided to change that up. Got a partner of mine, friend that helps me a lot. He come over, we readjusted and did something, repaired the fuel plate, and we took and backed off some of the adjustments and got it close. Still having a little bit of low end power issue, but this gauge kit will help me. It helps you see if you're building boost and how much boost and when you're building it. And then you can see your fuel pressure if you're having issues. And pyrometer, if it's over fuel and different things, you can tell by exhaust temperature. They're just handy in general to have an exhaust temperature gauge on them for towing and things. But I got a cold air intake ordered from S&B. Seemed to be on back order for a while, so I've not seen it. I've ordered it 3 weeks ago, so they said they keep me emailed and updated, but hope it comes in soon. That helps on your exhaust temperatures to lower that intake temperature. Also, on this truck, I don't know if you can tell from where the angle is, somebody's got like a 3rd gen turbo. They did a switch because the turbo on the 12 valves and 24 valves has got like on the back, got 2 bolts holding the flange. It's like a 3-inch exit on the turbo, and this one's a true 4-inch, and it's just got a V-band clamp up and clamps it to the turbo. When I bought this truck, the V-band clamp was like way too wide. Someone didn't know what they were doing when they put it on. Whoever welded the flange to go on the back of the turbo, that exhaust piece, it wasn't even matching up. So like it was touching at the top of the turbo, and on the bottom you could stick a pencil. And they tried to pull it together with a V-band clamp. That doesn't work. So I repaired the pipe and cut it, took care of that, and on one part of the exhaust there wasn't even nothing on it. But there is the exhaust temperature gauge, and there's the threaded piece that goes in the manifold, and you put a little bit of anti-seize on it and just thread it in. You don't have to go crazy on the tightness. and then you thread that in there, and it says get it halfway down in, so I just kind of knew how long it was. I pushed it down till it stopped and pulled it back up a little bit and tightened it down, and that's all you have to do on that. There's a little anti-seize on it. I'll let you guys go and watch just a little bit. I kind of screwed up on the audio. I had the radio playing in the background. I thought it was turned down low. This camera usually don't pick up, but you can hear it, and I don't want to get dinged on there for having music in the background that ain't mine. So tried to edit some of it out and stuff, but then on the later, somehow when I switched cameras, one battery died, so I switched to the other. The microphone went on, but I'm learning. I'm still getting it. I'll figure it out. Got a couple more videos coming on this truck. This is a new purchase of mine, or new to me. I got rid of my 2018 Ram. Got tired of the payments, just a lot of money, so I got rid of that, and I bought this as a 1997 3500 two-wheel drive. Has a flatbed that dumps, 12-foot flatbed, and it's a true cabin chassis truck. It's got the thicker frame, it has PTO dump and stuff. Really nice setup, bigger leaf spring pack and stuff. I really like the truck, so I'm working on it, tinkering on it, trying to get it. When I buy a vehicle, I always add to it and try to make sure that it's up to what I think. It's still got some oil leaks. I still want to check the killer dowel pin. Just different things as I go along. Had to put a rear brake line on it. It blowed out. Uh, so I'm going to go let you guys watch it for a minute, and I'll chime back in here later. This right here is it's a 7/16 wrench. Takes that off. 11 millimeter, same thing. This is right under the intake horn, kind of in behind the fuel system. This is where your boost pressure sensor or your little tube, a little plastic tube runs to this with some compression fittings. So you take that little plug out. Now this was like very difficult. I know I probably could have took the intake horn and stuff like that off, but I didn't have any gaskets. And this is my truck, and I'm driving now that I got rid of my other one. So if I down it, this was the night before I had to go to work the next day. If I do something and it's down, then it's down, and I'm down. So, but that's the little pack, and there's your compression fittings. It comes with plenty enough hose. Actually, one of the things to be careful for when you're running this line through these places, it wants to curl up, and I kind of pulled on it, and it kinked it. Luckily, it was some I could trim. It was like the last 3 foot or something I got a kink in, so I trimmed it off. It comes with, I don't know, probably 20 foot, or I don't know. It's a lot. There it comes with a whole big row, or 15 feet maybe. But you'd think it's a lot, but when you start running stuff up and down and through the firewall and down and up the A-pillar and stuff, it does take quite a bit, but they put plenty in there. But I had a hard time getting that little fitting started. Finally, I got down there, and which you had to put pipe tape on it. I got down there and held it up against the threads, and I took the wrench and got it started, and there I finally got it going. Right here, what you're looking at is the side of the P pump where the fuel inlet is. What you do is you take this banjo bolt out. I think it's a 19 millimeter, 3/4, whichever one you have. You take that out. You come with a new set of they call it a snubber valve is what it comes with, and that's one of the things I was telling you. If you order it on Amazon, it's already a kit and it sends what you need, except for some of the electrical stuff, and I'll talk about that later. But this one right here, when you take it out, you're going to lose 6 or 8 ounces of fuel. I didn't mind. I got pans under there, and I'm in my shop, so I just let it hit the pans. But it ain't a bunch. If you were outside or something, it just drain on the frame and get on the truck a little bit. But you take this out and you replace it, and it looks just like a banjo boat, except the head is extended and it's got a 1/8 inch MBT threads. I think it's 1/8 inch or whatever, but it receives the fuel pressure sensor, which is in the kit that I bought also. You can see a little fuel coming out right there. But this tells you the fuel pressure that's going to this pump. Now, there's supposed to be something like a spec of 17 to 22 at idle, and then 25 to 30 or something, 22 to 30 or something at wide open throttle. And when you get in under a load, this is where the gauges can help you. When you get under a load, if you were dropping way back to 10 psi, your filter could be clogged. You could have a restriction somewhere. Also been studying up on these P pumps having a flow control valve on it, so I may have a video on that later. It's got a spring and ball in there, and that spring deteriorates, and you can get erratic fuel pressure because all your pump's doing is creating flow. So it has to have like a restriction, a spring, or something to create pressure inside of it. If not, it would just flow right on. There's flow right on through. So they create a little bit of a restriction with that flow control valve. So. But you'll see here 2 copper washers. You put one on. You can see it on it already. Then you slide it through. Put one on the other side right before you thread it in. But it looks just like the banjo boat, except it's got an extended head. And it tells you to thread your sensor on before you put that in there. It's just easier. So what I'm doing right here, sensor's already threaded in it. So you thread that in, then just plug your sensor harness in it. Right here, what's going on is I got the camera sitting down there at the clutch pedal and the park brake. I'm pushing it through the boot. It's got the main wire harness. It's got a big old boot, like a little slot to the side, just a little barely where the harness and stuff would go through, and fished it all down through. It'll go down right here, up and over top of. There's a couple of bars running there to keep it out of the way of like the pedals moving, and it goes toward the left. And then you take your side panel off and your dash bezel, however you say it. It goes over you around your gauges and your radio. I think it's called a bezel. You take it and pull it toward the steering wheel, kind of pop it out of there. It's got a bunch of clips and like 4 screws where the cup holder is and the ashtray. Pull that back and you can fish. That stuff's got to go up and around. You got to fish it up your A pillar so you can plug in all your gauges. Right there where you just see me with the screwdriver, there's a little screw, and it's a good metal portion that's bolted to the frame of the truck, and it's a good grounding source, and it's where the ring terminal comes to. It reaches really well, so I grounded it right there. Right here, it tells you to find a wire. It's like a black wire with a gray stripe, or black wire with a green stripe or something. But if you watch the YouTube video installing Glowshift gauges, that's what I went to. And he tells exactly which wire. That what this does is when you tap into that, the gauge pods are bright and they're right there to the left, so it keep from blinding you at night. it dims at 20 or 30%. I think it's 20%. By this little wire tap here. I don't like using those, but when they're inside and out of the weather, I don't mind it so much. So it's a little pinch style. But you add that, and what it does is when you pull your light switch and turn your headlights on or park lights, it knows, it must be dark outside, so it dims the 3 gauges, the lights. It dims them down to where it's not really super bright in your face. So I really like that feature. But you have to find your headlight switch, which is easy to find. But you pull that bezel back. I think there's 4 screws or something. Hold your headlight switch, pull it back. It's kind of tight room. I got big hands to fit in there. But you tap into that wire and then just cram it all back in there. Make sure nothing's pinched, or you're going to put a screw through the side of a wire or something. But once you get it like that, you just kind of tuck it back in there, and that helps during night driving. This is the next day. Got the 3 gauges hooked up. It was really late that night, so I didn't get after. It was like midnight when I went in the house. I had to work the next day. But we turned the key on. The top and bottom gauge, the pyrometer, and the fuel pressure, they sweep, you call it. But when they sweep, I guess they're electronic sensors or whatever. The boost pressure is just a tube that senses when there's airflow, pressure against it. So it doesn't sweep. Don't know if it's supposed to or not, but it works when you're driving, but it don't sweep when you turn your key on. But there's your exhaust temperature probe up around the firewall, kind of tucked up good, and runs over to where the main harness goes in. There's your boost pressure tube, and then there's your fuel pressure snubber, whatever they call it, but that sensor's right under it. That wire loom looking stuff. You can't hardly see the sensor, but you can see the plug in going to it. And that's right there is where it goes to the firewall. A rubber grommet where they won't rub and hurt anything. Here's me running. Thought of The sound was on, but it wasn't. This is me kind of running the road, and you can see top's exhaust temperature running about 700 and something. I'm pulling a hill somewhat. Running about 20 some psi. If you'll notice my fuel pressure, it's kind of hard to see. I know the gauges show funny on the screen, but it wants to fluctuate. Like when you're driving, it bounces around, kind of like. That's what made me think of that flow control valve. Maybe that spring was broke and that little ball comes off its seat and bounces a little. But you can see I'm building boost in the center. Boost, oddly enough, don't know if anyone's had this problem. If they have, comment down below. This truck don't start building boost to like 2,000 RPMs. I don't know if it's where they got the third gen turbo and it's different, or if it's the fuel settings is off. But it just doesn't build boost at low RPMs at all. Like when you shift at 2,000, 2,100 RPMs, it don't pick back up. It has to hit about 1,900 RPMs for it to pick back up. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.